Alright, so as I was just saying on my previous slide, we have roll, pitch, and yaw, which are the three different terminologies for X, Y, and Z when using the gyroscope in the iPhone. So I have this app called Sensor Kinetics, which you can see the accelerometer sensor, the gyroscope sensor, and the magnetometer sensor, which is right here, but we're not going to focus on that. So in the accelerometer sensor, you see that as you go in the X direction, the Y direction, and the Z direction, it changes from 0 to 9.8, but it automatically goes back to either 0 or 9.8. So when you're in the X direction, notice how X is 9.8, but Y and Z are basically at 0. Then when you change it to Y, you see that Y is at 9.8, while X and Z are at 0. And the same goes for Z. You'll notice right here it goes to 9.8 and the rest are at 0. So if you wanted to go into more depth here, you can go onto the accelerometer graph and you could press start. And as you can see here, these are basically at 0, kind of. It's a little bit unsteady because of my hand. But down here on the Y, which is the legend, Y is right here, the red, and it's at about negative 9.81. But when I change it to the X, see up here, the X, which is green, X, it's at about 9.81. Same goes for Z. Notice how, the Z is at negative 9.81 while these two are at 0. So that's how the accelerometer works. Now if you'll go back, the gyroscope sensor. So that's roll, pitch, and yaw. So roll is this, pitch, this, and yaw is the tilt and the rotation. So notice, with the gyroscope, when you go like this, the Y jumps, which is pitch. It jumps from 0 all the way up and then all the way back down. Watch. If you'll notice, you have to look really closely, but it does do that. And then for X, which is roll, it does the same thing. And that's because, like in the gyroscope, once you move it, the object in motion changes because of the external force, but once it's put back into this position, it's going to want to stay in this position. So it'll move for a second, but then once it's here, it's going to go back to 0 because it's going to want to stay here. And then for Z, which is the yaw, you're going to move it this way, and it's going to change while the rest are staying at approximately 0. So I'm going to show you the graph. I'm going to start it. So I'm going to start with pitch. And as you can see here, I am moving it back and forth in a cycle, and it's creating a sine wave. Ooh. And then if you'll look, you can do the yaw, which is the blue. And that was the Z on the other one. And look, a sine wave. And then if you go into the roll, the rest are at 0 while the green is sine wave. So that's basically it for the gyroscope. Obviously you can see the difference between the accelerometer and the gyroscope. And I just thought this app was really cool, so that's all. Was that good?